G'day guys, just going to do a video, just try and keep everyone interested in the channel. Obviously with COVID-19 we haven't been able to get out to hunt, but what I have been doing is just making sure everything's ready to go for when we are allowed to go. So this video is just going to be a bit of the gear I've got, the gear I use that might be a little bit different to some other people, and I'm going to have a little bit of shooting the gun and how I've been practicing getting ready for when I can hunt. So hope you enjoy it. Got any questions, leave a comment. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe, that'd be good. Let's get on with it anyway. Righto, so the first thing I'm going to talk about today is the camo gear I run. I've been running Sitka all last year. And the reason why, not because maybe it's the best, but for me, I got these stupid long arms, 6'4" tall, and it's pain for me to find any sort of camo gear in Australia, or Australian made stuff, or even your New Zealand gear for a tall bloke like me. Americans seem to be onto that sort of stuff. Obviously they've probably got a higher average height hunter, I don't know, but so I got onto Sitka. I buy it through the mob in New Zealand, and they do tall sizes. So that's the number one reason why I run this gear, not because it's, you know, Sitka or whatever. I do like the camo pattern and the colour, but the main reason is it fits me. For the average sort of bloke, maybe your 6 foot sort of people and lower, I'm sure there's probably cheaper options out there, and let's face it, like some of this gear is just dear as hell. But I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown on what I've got and what I think of it. So I've only ever had one pair of pants, and it's these ones here. These are the eld-x. They're really lightweight. They come with a knee pad, but I just throw that away. It's just another thing that you don't need. Super lightweight, warm enough for me hunting Sambar in winter time. I don't like to have a really warm pan anyway. But the beauty about these things is when they do get wet, say you cross a river or you got a wet day, literally within half an hour of being near a fire, these things are bone dry. They dry out so quick, they drain really well. So that's why I like them. A lot of people probably have different ideas, but I like lightweight pants that drains the water and keeps you warm enough, because I don't find that my legs are something that ever really get cold. The next one that I've destroyed, which I love it, it's this lightweight merino top. So when it's warm, this thing, you hardly even know you got it on. It's just a great little lightweight top, but get in the thick stuff and a stick grabs it, you tear holes in it everywhere, and like there's a hole there, huge, but it doesn't seem to matter. Like, it's not there to keep you warm, but expensive garment to be ripping like that, but I still love that thing. Lightweight, can't get durability. What's this one? I think I've got a lightweight zip, half zip. Lot more durable. It's got like a little mini fleece inside. It's fairly warm for how light it is. Great length, like you can see that. Like, I'm 6'6" wingspan, so yeah, that's a tall size in a large. Yeah, large, tall. That's pretty cool. And then I've got a medium weight one, just a little bit warmer, so as we get into the cooler months of the year, I sort of go up in grades of how warm they are, so it's the same thing. And then I've got this, which is, I can't remember what this one is. I think it's the Traverse top. It's a cracker for like, I sort of only use this one if I'm sitting on a paddock, because it's not waterproof much or at all really. It's stretchy. It's really comfortable to wear, and it's really warm. Like wear this over the top of one of them, and that's all you need. But when I'm hiking, I like to have this top on. This is the mountain top, semi-waterproof, like it can handle a fair shower, and it's tough as nails. This, you won't poke a hole in this one unless, I don't know, it's like a knife. It's very tough. Water, it's got a special DWR or something bloody coating on it, which I don't know how long that lasts when you start washing it. Probably wears off anyway, but this is a cracker top. Highly recommend that one. And then lastly, I've got, this one's like a puffy shirt, jump or outer layer. I've used this when I knew I was going on a hike and we had a cold front come through where we were going to get snow down to 500, and I had like 5 layers of this stuff on, and it was like snow and cold wind on me, but I could sit there in glass all day long. Like, this really blocks or holds the heat in. It's really good stuff for that. And I've also got these gaiters, which are Gore-Tex, 100% waterproof. Given these a fair flogging, and I have had to, I got an upholsterer to re-stitch these on because they were torn apart, and all that was because of is the stitching here. I basically worn it out rubbing on rocks. So not so much of a product fault, more than I just worn it out because I do hunt in that sort of harsher stuff. And I have poked the odd hole in them with a stick because they're light, super lightweight. It's not really durable, this gear, as such, as it's not tough as nails. It's pretty good. I do get it, I do bash through the bush a bit, so I tend to pick up a stick every now and again. I think the average bloke probably wouldn't have the trouble I do, but all I've done is I've just glued in some patches like for tents, like tent sort of stuff, and it's fixed them. Like when you've got a good pair of waterproof boots on with these on, you can literally just walk slowly across a river, so long as you're below there. The slower you go, the better, because I've found that if you run, you jam water up underneath the gaiter and it gets in under your boot, whereas if you just slowly go across, yeah, it's almost like having a full-size gumboot on. It's pretty cool. Alright, so that's the camo. Boots, I've had these for a full season now. Lower Tibet, the stiffer one. I like a stiff boot. I've ran for 15 years. I've run Meendal, Makalu boots, which have got a steel shank. These have got a plastic shank, I think, but it's like 5mm thick or something like that. So they are a fairly stiff boot, but you can really get up on the toe going on a hill. But what I like about them is a little bit more height, and like for side cutting on a hill, these things just give you massive support. I feel really confident with these on when I've got a heavy pack on. 100% Gore-Tex, fully waterproof, and like I've given these a fair flogging, and they're holding up pretty well. I think I'm actually going to wear the Vibram sole out before this boot falls apart, and that's what I did to my Makalu Meendals, is I actually resoled them because I had worn out the tread before the leather was even looking like falling apart. So I'm really happy with these. A lot of blokes are running the Ranger model. I just preferred the stiffer sole for the hiking big country that I hunt in. I'm sure if you were just doing more paddock and walking up gully, sort of stalking hunting, not big weights on you, I think the Ranger would be a better choice. But for backpacking, harsh, rocky country, it's got the higher protection around the side here, and that stiffer sole and a bit higher ankle support just adds up to what I'm looking for in a boot to go hiking into that big country. Right. Next thing, and I absolutely love this thing, and I think you would have found a few other people that have raved on about this bino harness, but it's from CPL Gear out of the States, believe it or not. It's got a kangaroo on it, but I've got the Swaro 10x42s in the SLCs, and this is the small size, and they fit in there just like a glove, and like clamp magnet closing lid there. Great harness, just sits on you so well. Like I don't think you can get a better harness than this one. I'd highly recommend everyone look at one of these. It just sits there, rock steady, doesn't rock around, really flip him over, pull him out. You've also got your little lanyard here, both sides, so that you can drop your binos if you need to. So put him in, take him out, and run it like that, lid down, and it's one of the only ones that hinges from the front. Yeah, I just reckon it's more ergonomic. There it is, ready to go. Cracker of a product. Check them out. Righto, so a few of you guys, probably a lot of you guys follow me on YouTube because of the gun that I'm shooting at the moment. Probably a lot of you are interested in either the Fierce or the Caliber, the 338 lap. So let's have a bit of a chat about where this gun has got to. I know in one of my other videos I was saying I was having a bit of trouble getting it to shoot the 1/2 inch guaranteed and out of the factory. So I've definitely improved, and what I've done to improve that is I pulled the action out of the stock. Because I'm like, why isn't this thing always shooting well? It was shooting well sometimes, and then other times it wasn't. And I thought, maybe it's just me. But I thought I was shooting good enough that it wasn't me, but I still had that doubt in my head. The first thing I did, obviously, was I got the trigger worked so that it took a lot of the creep out, lightened it right off to about 1.5 pounds. The next thing I did is I was watching videos of me shoot it and realised it was still bucking quite a fair bit. So I've changed out the factory muzzle brake, which was a what's the word? I can't remember. Radial? Yeah, radial brake. So holes all the way around. Because obviously the holes down were allowing it to muzzle flip. So I've got the Terminator T3 on there now, and night and day, this thing shoots way better with that. So that's what I did also. But I think the main accuracy improvement I've made on this gun was pull the action out of the stock, and I found that there was just a little bit of movement, and there wasn't. It's pillar bedded. The rear pillar here looked like it had some movement that was occurring, maybe from the recoil, I don't know. And I just thought, right, how can I alleviate that problem? So I did a bit of search on YouTube. It's basically a Seiko 85 footprint, and I found someone that had bedded they'd bedded the whole lot, but specifically the rear tag area. And so I did it. I relieved the area around the pillar, and I used aluminium putty DevCon, and I bedded that rear part, and straight away I noticed an accuracy improvement. So since then, I've got several groups here that are 1/2 inch, but everything's under an inch. Everything's 0.7 and less. I think the biggest grip I've got here is 0.86 of an inch at 100 yards. Like there's lots of 0.7s, and then you've got, you know, 3 groups in a row like this. I don't know if you can see that. I will do a close up of it anyway, where it's, you know, 0.54, 0.58 and 0.40, and they were three shot groups in a row with just cooling the barrel between the groups. So accuracy has definitely improved. That's using the same loads I was using before. The only thing I'd really changed was the brake, and I bedded that rear tang area. Yeah, so mind you, this is a 9.5 pound rifle. So shooting 1/2 inch groups with a 338 lap, even with the muzzle brake, you have to be on your game. It's not a 6.5 Creedmoor or a 243 or a 223. This is a big gun. There's still a lot of energy, even with the muzzle brake. So it takes all I've got to shoot those tiny little groups. And I think anything under an inch is more than acceptable for this calibre. And so I sort of got a bit frustrated with trying to shoot small groups. And when I did get, you know, those few small groups in a row, I thought, right, this gun's doing what it's supposed to be doing. I'm just going to forget about shooting groups now, and I'm just going to go back. I've got a range out the back here, which I'll show you. It's not really a range, it's just where I shoot at home. It's 491 yards. I made a steel target, and I thought, I'm just going to go out there a couple nights a week, 1 bullet, 1 shot, dial it in, whatever the wind is, take that shot. And I hit regularly. The only times I'm missing is misjudging the wind, because I have been shooting in fairly gusty conditions. So if it's dead calm, I'm 100% confident I can hit 12 inch gong at 491 in field conditions. I'm not shooting off Flash Harry bipod or a bench or anything like that. I'm in the dirt, leaning over my pack, or I'm shooting off shooting sticks, or I'm leaning off a tree. It's real life conditions that I'm shooting that 12 inch gong every time at 491 yards. So pretty happy with that now. Where this gun's at is right where it needs to be. So here you go. I'll just run through these groups real quick. As you can see, I'm shooting 265 grain long range AccuBonds, and I'm also shooting 270 grain eld-x. They shoot roughly to the same point of impact. It's about 3 clicks out on left and right, so I just allow for that when I'm using them. But yeah, you can see the groups and the sizes. And there's those three shot groups in a row, one after the other. So another thing I did is a tracking test on this scope, because I did think I was having some trouble with it. And I actually sent it away to Leopold, and they tested it and sent it back saying it was fine. So I got it back and I did this test. So I took a shot, got it zeroed exactly at 100, and then what I did is I went up 3 MOA, and I went across to the right 3 MOA, and I took a shot. So that bullet should have landed on that black dot, but it landed there, and I thought that's acceptable for, you know, my shooting, and, you know, the load. It's less than an inch away from point of impact of where I hoped it would be. Anyway, so then what I did is I went back 3 MOA and down 3 MOA. I did not fire another one. What I did then is I went back up 3 MOA and across 3, and I fired this third shot, which you can see is within 1/4 of an inch of point of impact where it should have been. Then I dialed back to the center and down, and I took the 4th shot, which, you know, but it's only 1/2 inch or less from the original first shot. So I was happy the scope was tracking, and since then I have not had any trouble with this scope. Right, I'm just doing some simulated hunting shots at home. Anyway, so this is how I'm going to hunt in the bush. So I'm practicing like this. It's good and well to do the shooting off your bench and off a bipod if that's what you've got, for a great rest for doing your load development and checking the accuracy of your rifle and make sure it's all sighted in. But when you're in the bush, sometimes they bipods to me just another thing to carry, and they sort of hook up in the bush if they're not hooked onto your gun, and then you've got to get it out of your pack and muck around. And rarely have I ever found where I've found a good spot to run a bipod. I don't go to specific spots to glass out from. I actually hunt and by chance come across deer, so I might have to use a tree. In this instance, I've always carried these. They're lightweight, they collapse to nothing. I can have them in my pack here. I can quickly just rip them out without having to take my pack off. I'm just going to show you a shot. Hopefully I'll hit it. Should be able to hear it because it's hitting steel. 491 yards. Got the lap. And I just used my hiking pack. So let's have a go, eh? I like to run the strap through here. Like that. I've got a bit of a soft spot here at the moment. Alright. Then I like to wrap the sling like so. So I can sort of lock in. Now this is it's not comfortable at all. Like my feet are slipping just like they would be if you're in a rush, because you couldn't find a great spot or whatever. Putting the pack on my lap like this. Get your camo top. No special stuff, just crunch it up into a bit of a support. Now you can adjust these a little bit, jam them into the ground. So I'm not actually using this tree, it's just there. Right, see how we go. Dialed in. Jam my feet in the bush, into the ground a bit. Got a fair bit of tension on this. I don't know if you can see this, but there we go, 491. That was dead center. We've got no wind today, and that shot is 3 to 4 inches low. So pretty good shooting off this. 338 lap, shooting a 270 grain eld-x. I do have the T3 Terminator brake on it now. This cheap pad, which I've modified a little bit, but it does give you that better cheek support for those longer shots. I've got the VX6 HD 3 to 18 by 50. I have the custom turret already. I've done the load development for the 270 grain eld-x, 2831 feet a second average. I've got it dialed in for 200 yard zero, and I've got it set for a 500 meter elevation and 15 degrees, which is probably about 15 degrees, but we're only shooting at maybe 30 or 40 meters above sea level here. So at that range, I don't think it really affects the trajectory of the bullet that much. But yeah, it's all working. Let's hope that we can get these restrictions lifted off in the next few weeks and we get out and get a deer video.